U.S. Vice President Mike Pence talked about persecution during the first ever State Department conference on protecting religious freedom around the world. Pence highlighted the case of U.S.-born minister Craig Brunson, jailed nearly 2 years ago in Turkey on charges he was involved in the attempted coup against President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. But no one expected Pence to say this.
If Turkey does not take immediate action to free this innocent man of faith and send him home to America, the United States will impose significant sanctions on Turkey until Pastor Craig Brunson is free.
Soon after, a tweet from President Donald Trump confirming the threat. He is suffering greatly. This innocent man of faith should be released immediately. The Turkish foreign minister immediately fired back, also on Twitter. No one dictates to Turkey. We will never tolerate threats from anybody. Rule of law is for everyone, no exception. The fight over Brunson's legal freedom has reignited what seemed to be a bit of reconciliation between the U.S. and Turkey. Trump recently congratulated Erdogan on winning re-election, raising hopes the two could resolve disputes over Turkey's plans to buy Russian-made missile defense systems and over U.S. support for Kurdish fighters battling ISIL in Syria. The sanctions threat against Turkey has overshadowed what was supposed to be one of the Trump administration's foreign policy initiatives, protecting human rights, or more specifically, protecting religious freedom. The conference discussed how people's religious beliefs make them targets for everything from harassment to death, and what the international community can do to protect them. Indeed, the vice president's speech highlighted the abuse suffered by the Rohingya of Myanmar, the Yazidis of Iraq and Syria, Tibetan Buddhists at the hands of Beijing, and Jews living in Europe and the United States. But two new programs that Pence announced may do more to help small Christian communities around the world than these other peoples. Human rights groups say that's worrisome.
What was most troubling for me was the absence of any notion that people have the right not to practice a faith, and the notion that people have the right not to have someone else's faith imposed upon them.
But this new conflict with Turkey may end up overshadowing the U.S.'s efforts to protect people's right to worship, as well as the oversight to ensure the U.S. doesn't impose its beliefs on other countries. Rosiland, Al Jazeera, the State Department.